It's not all that often that you get a low-cost motherboard from China that was fully functional, but this Huananzhi X99-BD4 is different. It has an intelligible BIOS and everything worked on it. It came with a manual, in English and Chinese with specifications, and the debug codes can be obtained from the Huananzhi website. For a board that is smaller than a full-sized ATX board, it has a reasonable number of useful features. Nvme support, a single front USB 3 connector, 2 USB 3 ports at the rear, and a collection of the older USB 2 ports for non-critical things like a mouse and keyboard. It has 4 SATA 3 ports and 2 more SATA 2 ports that appear to turn off if an Nvme drive is used, so you can routinely use an Nvme drive and 4 hard disks, either mechanical or SATA SSDs. Something that is handy for builders is a power switch on the bottom right of the board, which makes it a lot easier to use on a test bench. One of the great advantages of a Socket 2011 version 3 board is the very wide range of CPU types that can be used. From early Haswell-era i7s to later Broadwell i7s, but for the budget-conscious and more specialized tasks, the E5-2600 series version 3 and 4 of Intel Xeons have a wide range of different CPU types, at what can be described as bargain prices from China. This build uses a Xeon E5-2690 version 3 as it is going to be used for video processing. The Nvme SSD used here is a Samsung SSD 980, a 500GB version, and it is for the operating system, Windows 10 in this instance, and a drive departition for some apps that need to be loaded quickly. The video card is a Gigabyte, 8GB, RX 580, which in Australia cost under $250. You can spend far more on a video card, and your target task will dictate what you want to pay for. If you are into gaming, you can spend upwards of $2,000 on a high-end video card. This machine is targeted at video processing, which is mainly console display, but it must also perform ordinary tasks like browsing, watching video, etc., and the RX 580 performs all of these tasks easily with high-quality video. The can is a low-cost black ugly thing. It does not have to be seen, apart from whether it's turned on or not. The front has 2 removable disc caddies that are purely passive SATA connections, with no electronics in between, and 2 push fans to promote airflow through the can. The back end has as many open spaces as possible to aid cooling. The 2-fan radiator had to be moved across to clear the heat sink at the top of the board. With the box up and running, and with Windows 10 64-bit installed, we can start to do some testing. The CPU-Z result shows that the single-thread performance is adequate at 377.4, without being anything exciting, but the multi-thread result at 5117.4 shows the power of a 12-core CPU, and it does so with a decent cooler, at about 50 degrees centigrade, which is more than safe enough. The Cinebench version 20 result had to be done twice, as the first run was slowed down by running the core temp utility, with the result being 3711. With a second run with nothing else running, it produced a result of 3980, which is very close to the result with the same CPU in a high-end Gigabyte board. With the benchmark running at 100% CPU usage for each core, the temperature recorded by core temp was around the 50 degrees centigrade mark. The board has 4 memory slots, and it is to your advantage to use 4 memory modules, so that you have 4-channel memory. Depending on your target machine, Win 10 64-bit will run okay on 4x4 GB modules if you are doing nothing critical. Win 10 64-bit will run very well with 4x8 GB modules, and if you have a reason, 4x16 GB modules if you need a larger amount of memory. These are the specifications for this particular machine. If you need to build an economy machine, you can use a Xeon E5-2690v3, which are now very low cost, $20 to $30 US for a 6-core CPU. Xeon processors range from 4-core to over 12 cores, and you can dial up the performance you need for the task you have at hand. The board and CPU were bought from AliExpress in China. The other components were bought locally in Australia and often at very competitive prices. The Samsung SSD was bought from Amazon, at just under $100 Australian. The 4 Seagate hard disks were also sourced in Australia. Know what you are buying and know why, and you can build a powerful and reliable machine, at reasonably low cost. Hi, my name is Jack, I am a high-tech, text-to-speech voice. I have been selected to narrate this video, to save you from the author's Australian accent. The video and sound are copyright Steve Hutchison, December 2021, and all rights are reserved.